Chapter 15. After this the word of Jehovah came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Do not fear, Abram. I am a shield for you. Your reward will be very great." Abram replied,
"Sovereign Lord Jehovah, what will you give me, seeing that I continue childless, and the one who will inherit my house is a man of Damascus, Eliezer?"
Abram added,
"You have given me no offspring, and a member of my household is succeeding me as heir."
But look, Jehovah's word in reply to him was, "This man will not succeed you as heir, but your own son will succeed you as heir." He now brought him outside and said, "Look up, please, to the heavens, and count the stars, if you are able to do so." Then he said to him, "So your offspring will become." And he put faith in Jehovah, and he counted it to him as righteousness. Then he added, "I am Jehovah, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans, to give you this land as your possession." To this he said,
"Sovereign Lord Jehovah, how will I know that I will take possession of it?"
He replied to him, "Take for me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." So he took all of these and cut them in two, and put each part opposite the other, but he did not cut up the birds. Then the birds of prey began to descend on the carcasses, but Abram kept driving them away. When the sun was about to set, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and a great and frightening darkness descended on him. Then he said to Abram, "Know for certain that your offspring will be foreigners in a land not theirs, and that the people there will enslave them and afflict them for 400 years. But I will judge the nation they will serve, and after that they will go out with many goods. As for you, you will go to your forefathers in peace. You will be buried at a good old age. But they will return here in the 4th generation, because the era of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure." When the sun had set and it had become very dark, a smoking furnace appeared, and a fiery torch passed between the pieces. On that day Jehovah made with Abram a covenant, saying, "To your offspring I will give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites." Chapter 16. Now Abram's wife Sarai had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram,
"Please now, Jehovah has prevented me from bearing children. Please have relations with my servant. Perhaps I can have children by means of her."
So Abram listened to what Sarai said. After Abram had lived for 10 years in the land of Canaan, Abram's wife Sarai took her Egyptian servant Hagar and gave her to her husband Abram as his wife. So he had relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When she realized that she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. At this Sarai said to Abram,
"The injury done to me is your fault. I was the one who put my servant in your arms. But when she realized that she was pregnant, she began to despise me. May Jehovah judge between me and you."
So Abram said to Sarai,
"Look, your servant is under your authority. Do to her whatever you think is best."
Then Sarai humiliated her, and she ran away from her. Later Jehovah's angel found her at a spring of waters in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. And he said,
"Hagar, servant of Sarai, "Where have you come from, and where are you going?"
To this she said,
I am running away from my mistress, Sarai.
Jehovah's angel then said to her,
"Return to your mistress, and humble yourself under her hand.
Then Jehovah's angel said,
I will greatly multiply your offspring, so that they will be too numerous to count."
Jehovah's angel added,
"Here you are pregnant, and you will give birth to a son, and you must name him Ishmael, for Jehovah has heard your affliction. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him, and he will dwell opposite all his brothers."
Then she called on the name of Jehovah, who was speaking to her,
You are a God of sight.
for she said,
Have I here actually looked upon the one who sees me?
That is why the well was called Beer-lahai-roi. It is between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore to Abram a son, and Abram named his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. Chapter 17. When Abram was 99 years old, Jehovah appeared to Abram and said to him, I am God Almighty. Walk before me and prove yourself faultless. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you very, very much. At this Abram fell face down, and God continued to speak with him, saying, As for me, look, my covenant is with you, and you will certainly become a father of many nations. Your name will no longer be Abram. Your name will become Abraham, for I will make you a father of many nations. I will make you very, very fruitful, and will make you become nations, and kings will come from you. And I will keep my covenant between me and you and your offspring after you throughout their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be God to you and to your offspring after you. And I will give to you and to your offspring after you the land in which you lived as a foreigner, the entire land of Canaan, for a lasting possession, and I will be their God. God said further to Abraham, As for you, you are to keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you, throughout their generations. This is my covenant between me and you, that you and your offspring after you will keep. Every male among you must get circumcised. You must circumcise the flesh of your foreskins, and it will serve as a sign of the covenant between me and you. Throughout your generations, every male among you 8 days old must be circumcised. Anyone who is born in the house, and anyone who is not one of your offspring, and who is purchased with money from a foreigner. Every man born in your house, and every man purchased with your money, must be circumcised, and my covenant in your flesh must serve as a lasting covenant. If any uncircumcised male will not circumcise the flesh of his foreskin, that person must be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Then God said to Abraham, As for your wife Sarai, you must not call her Sarai, because Sarah will become her name. I will bless her, and also give you a son by her. I will bless her, and she will become nations. Kings of peoples will come from her. At this Abraham fell face down, and began to laugh, and to say in his heart,
Will a man 100 years old have a child born to him? And will Sarah, a woman 90 years old, give birth?
So Abraham said to the true God,
Oh, that Ishmael might live before you.
To this God said, Your wife Sarah will definitely bear you a son, and you must name him Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant to his offspring after him. But as regards Ishmael, I have heard you. Look, I will bless him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him very, very much. He will produce 12 chieftains, and I will make him become a great nation. However, I will establish my covenant with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you at this appointed time next year." When God finished speaking with him, he went up from Abraham. Abraham then took Ishmael his son, and all the men born in his house, and every one he had purchased with money, every male in the household of Abraham, and he circumcised the flesh of their foreskins on that very day, just as God had spoken with him. Abraham was 99 years old when he had the flesh of his foreskin circumcised, and Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he had the flesh of his foreskin circumcised. On that very day Abraham was circumcised, and also his son Ishmael. All the men of his household, anyone born in the house, and anyone purchased with money from a foreigner, were also circumcised with him. Chapter 18. Afterward, Jehovah appeared to him among the big trees of Mamre, while he was sitting at the entrance of the tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and saw 3 men standing some distance from him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. Then he said,
"Jehovah, if I have found favor in your eyes, please do not pass by your servant. Please let a little water be brought and have your feet washed. Then recline under the tree. Seeing that you have come here to your servant, let me bring a piece of bread so that you may refresh yourselves. Then you may go on your way."
At this they said,
"All right, you may do as you have spoken."
So Abraham hurried to the tent to Sarah and said,
"Quick, get 3 measures of fine flour, knead the dough, and make loaves of bread."
Next Abraham ran to the herd and chose a tender and good young bull. He gave it to the attendant, who hurried to prepare it. He then took butter and milk and the young bull that he had prepared and set the food before them. Then he stood by them under the tree as they were eating. They said to him,
"Where is your wife, Sarah?"
He replied,
"Here, in the tent."
So one of them continued,
"I will surely return to you next year at this time, and look, your wife Sarah will have a son."
Now Sarah was listening at the tent entrance, which was behind the man. Abraham and Sarah were old, being advanced in years. Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah began to laugh to herself, saying,
After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I really have this pleasure?
Then Jehovah said to Abraham,
"Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Am I really going to give birth, even though I am old? Is anything too extraordinary for Jehovah? I will return to you next year at this appointed time, and Sarah will have a son.'"
But Sarah denied it, saying,
I did not laugh.
for she was afraid. At this he said,
"Yes, you did laugh."
When the men got up to leave and looked down toward Sodom, Abraham was walking with them to escort them. Jehovah said,
Am I keeping hidden from Abraham what I am going to do? Why, Abraham is surely going to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by means of him. For I have come to know him, in order that he may command his sons and his household after him to keep Jehovah's way, by doing what is right and just, so that Jehovah may bring about what he has promised concerning Abraham.
Then Jehovah said,
The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, and their sin is very heavy. I will go down to see whether they are acting according to the outcry that has reached me, and if not, I can get to know it.
Then the men left from there and went toward Sodom, but Jehovah remained with Abraham. Then Abraham approached and said,
Will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous men within the city. Will you then sweep them away and not pardon the place for the sake of the 50 righteous who are inside it? It is unthinkable that you would act in this manner by putting the righteous man to death with the wicked one, so that the outcome for the righteous man and the wicked is the same. It is unthinkable of you. Will the judge of all the earth not do what is right?
Then Jehovah said,
If I find in Sodom 50 righteous men in the city, I will pardon the whole place for their sake.
But Abraham again responded,
Please, here I have presumed to speak to Jehovah, whereas I am dust and ashes. Suppose the 50 righteous should lack 5. Because of the 5, will you destroy the whole city?
To this he said,
I will not destroy it if I find there 45.
But yet again he spoke to him and said,
Suppose 40 are found there.
He answered,
I will not do it for the sake of the 40.
But he continued,
Jehovah, please do not become hot with anger, but let me go on speaking. Suppose only 30 are found there.
He answered,
I will not do it if I find 30 there.
But he continued,
Please, here I have presumed to speak to Jehovah. Suppose only 20 are found there.
He answered,
I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20.
Finally he said,
Jehovah, please do not become hot with anger, but let me speak just once more. Suppose only 10 are found there.
He answered,
I will not destroy it for the sake of the 10.
When Jehovah finished speaking to Abraham, he went his way, and Abraham returned to his place. Chapter 19. The 2 angels arrived at Sodom by evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them, and bowed down with his face to the earth. And he said,
Please, my lords, turn aside, please, into the house of your servant, and stay overnight, and have your feet washed. Then you may get up early and travel on your way.
To this they said,
No, we will stay overnight in the public square.
But he was so insistent with them that they went with him to his house. Then he made a feast for them, and he baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they could lie down to sleep, the men of the city, the men of Sodom from boy to old man, all of them, surrounded the house in one mob. And they kept calling out to Lot and saying to him,
Where are the men who came into you tonight?
Bring them out to us, so that we may have sex with them.
Then Lot went out to them to the doorway, and he shut the door behind him. He said,
Please, my brothers, do not act wickedly. Please, here I have 2 daughters who have never had sexual relations with a man. Please let me bring them out to you, for you to do to them whatever seems good to you. But do not do anything to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof.
At this they said,
Stand back.
and they added,
This lone foreigner came to live here, and yet he dares to judge us. Now we are going to do worse to you than to them.
And they crowded in on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. So the men reached out their hands and brought Lot into the house with them, and they shut the door. But they struck the men who were at the entrance of the house with blindness, from the least to the greatest, so that they wore themselves out trying to find the doorway. Then the men said to Lot,
Do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and all your people in the city. bring out of this place.
For we are going to destroy this place, because the outcry against them has indeed grown great before Jehovah, so that Jehovah sent us to destroy the city.
So Lot went out and began to speak to his sons-in-law, who were to marry his daughters. And he kept saying,
Get up, get out of this place, because Jehovah will destroy the city.
But to his sons-in-law he seemed to be joking. As dawn was breaking, the angels became urgent with Lot, saying,
Get up! Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here with you, so that you will not be swept away in the error of the city.
When he kept lingering, then because of Jehovah's compassion for him, the men seized hold of his hand, and the hand of his wife, and the hands of his 2 daughters, and they brought him out and stationed him outside the city. As soon as they had brought them to the outskirts, he said,
Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, and do not stand still in any part of the district. Escape to the mountainous region so that you may not be swept away.
Then Lot said to them,
Not there, please, Jehovah. Please now, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you are showing great kindness to me by preserving me alive. But I am not able to flee to the mountainous region, because I am afraid that disaster may overtake me, and I will die. Please now, this town is nearby, and I can flee there. It is only a small place. May I please escape there? It is only a small place. Then I will survive.
So he said to him,
Very well. I will also show you consideration by not overthrowing the town you speak of. Hurry, escape there, because I cannot do anything until you arrive there.
That is why he named the town Zoar. The sun had risen over the land when Lot arrived at Zoar. Then Jehovah made it rain sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. It came from Jehovah, from the heavens. So he overthrew these cities, yes, the entire district, including all the inhabitants of the cities and the plants of the ground. But Lot's wife, who was behind him, began to look back, and she became a pillar of salt. Now Abraham got up early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before Jehovah. When he looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the district, he saw quite a sight. There was dense smoke rising from the land, like the dense smoke of a kiln. So when God destroyed the cities of the district, God kept Abraham in mind by sending Lot out from the cities he overthrew, the cities where Lot had been dwelling. Later, Lot went up from Zoar with his 2 daughters and began living in the mountainous region, because he was afraid to live in Zoar. So he began living in a cave with his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said to the younger,
Our father is old, and there is not a man in the land to have relations with us, according to the custom of the whole earth. Come, let us give our father wine to drink, and let us lie down with him, and preserve offspring from our father.
So that night they kept giving their father wine to drink. Then the firstborn went in and lay down with her father. But he did not know when she lay down and when she got up. Then on the next day, the firstborn said to the younger,
Here I lay down with my father last night. Let us give him wine to drink tonight also. Then you go in and lie down with him, and let us preserve offspring from our father.
So that night also they repeatedly gave their father wine to drink. Then the younger went and lay down with him. But he did not know when she lay down and when she got up. So both daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Ammonites of today. Chapter 20. Now Abraham moved his camp from there to the land of the Negeb, and began dwelling between Kadesh and Shur. While he was residing at Gerar, Abraham repeated concerning his wife Sarah,
She is my sister.
So Abimelek, king of Gerar, sent for Sarah and took her. Afterward God came by night to Abimelek in a dream and said to him, Here you are as good as dead because of the woman whom you have taken, since she is married and belongs to another man. However, Abimelek had not gone near her. So he said,
Jehovah, will you kill a nation that is really innocent? Did he not say to me, She is my sister? And did she too not say, He is my brother? I did this with an honest heart and innocent hands.
Then the true God said to him in the dream, I know that you did this with an honest heart, so I held you back from sinning against me. That is why I did not allow you to touch her. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will make supplication for you, and you will keep living. But if you are not returning her, know that you will surely die, you and all who are yours. Abimelek got up early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things, and they became very frightened. Then Abimelek called Abraham and said to him,
What have you done to us? What sin have I committed against you that you would bring upon me and my kingdom such a great sin? What you have done to me was not right.
And Abimelek went on to say to Abraham,
What were your intentions when you did this thing?
Abraham said,
It was because I said to myself, Surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. And besides, she really is my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. So when God caused me to wander from the house of my father, I said to her, Let this be how you show loyal love to me. Everywhere we go, say of me, He is my brother.
Abimelek then took sheep and cattle and male and female servants and gave them to Abraham, and he returned his wife Sarah to him. Abimelek also said,
Here my land is available to you. Dwell wherever you please.
And to Sarah he said,
Here I give 1,000 pieces of silver to your brother. It is a sign of your innocence to all who are with you and before everybody, and you are cleared of reproach.
And Abraham began to make supplication to the true God, and God healed Abimelek and his wife and his slave girls, and they began having children. For Jehovah had made all the women of the house of Abimelek barren, because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Chapter 21. Jehovah turned his attention to Sarah, just as he had said, and Jehovah did for Sarah what he had promised. So Sarah became pregnant, and then bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time God had promised him. Abraham named his newborn son, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, just as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Then Sarah said,
God has brought me laughter. Everybody hearing of it will laugh with me.
And she added,
Who would have said to Abraham, Sarah will certainly nurse children, yet I have given birth to a son for him in his old age.
Now the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham prepared a big feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah kept noticing that the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, was mocking Isaac. So she said to Abraham,
Drive out this slave girl and her son, for the son of this slave girl is not going to be an heir along with my son, with Isaac.
But what she said about his son was very displeasing to Abraham. Then God said to Abraham, Do not be displeased by what Sarah is saying to you about the boy and about your slave girl. Listen to her, for what will be called your offspring will be through Isaac. As for the son of the slave girl, I will also make a nation out of him, because he is your offspring." So Abraham got up early in the morning and took bread and a skin bottle of water and gave it to Hagar. He set these on her shoulder and then sent her away along with the boy. So she departed and wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. Finally, the water in the skin bottle was used up, and she pushed the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went on and sat down by herself, about the distance of a bow shot away, because she said,
I do not want to watch the boy die.
So she sat down at a distance and began to cry aloud and to weep. At that, God heard the voice of the boy, and God's angel called to Hagar from the heavens and said to her,
"What is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy there where he is. Get up, lift the boy, and take hold of him with your hand, for I will make him a great nation."
Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the skin bottle with water, and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the wilderness and became an archer. He took up dwelling in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. At that time, Abimelek, together with Phicol, the chief of his army, said to Abraham,
God is with you in everything you are doing. So now swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me and with my offspring and with my descendants, and that you will deal with me and with the land where you have been residing with the same loyal love that I have shown you.
So Abraham said,
I swear to this.
However, Abraham complained to Abimelek about the well of water that the servants of Abimelek had violently seized. Abimelek replied,
I do not know who did this. You did not tell me about it, and I heard nothing about it until today.
At that Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelek, and the two of them made a covenant. When Abraham set 7 female lambs apart from the flock by themselves, Abimelek said to Abraham,
Why have you set these 7 female lambs here by themselves?
Then he said,
You are to accept the 7 female lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug this well.
That is why he called that place Beersheba, because there both of them had taken an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba, after which Abimelek got up, together with Phicol, the chief of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. After that he planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba, and there he called on the name of Jehovah, the everlasting God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for a long time. Chapter 22. Now after this, the true God put Abraham to the test, and he said to him, Abraham, to which he replied,
Here I am.
Then he said, Take, please, your son, your only son whom you so love, Isaac, and travel to the land of Moriah, and offer him up there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I will designate to you. So Abraham got up early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his servants along with him, and his son Isaac. He split the wood for the burnt offering, and then he rose and traveled to the place that the true God indicated to him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place from a distance. Abraham now said to his servants,
You stay here with the donkey, but the boy and I will go over there and worship and return to you.
So Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and put it on his son Isaac. Then he took in his hands the fire and the knife, and the 2 of them walked on together. Then Isaac said to his father Abraham,
My father.
He replied.
Yes, my son.
So he continued,
Here are the fire and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering?
To this Abraham said,
God himself will provide the sheep for the burnt offering, my son.
And both of them walked on together. Finally, they reached the place that the true God had indicated to him, and Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac hand and foot and put him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to kill his son. But Jehovah's angel called to him from the heavens and said,
Abraham, Abraham.
To which he answered,
Here I am.
Then he said,
Do not harm the boy, and do not do anything at all to him. For now I do know that you are God-fearing, because you have not withheld your son, your only one, from me.
At that Abraham looked up, and there just beyond him was a ram caught by its horns in a thicket. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that place Jehovah-Jireh. This is why it is still said today, In the mountain of Jehovah it will be provided. And Jehovah's angel called to Abraham a second time from the heavens, saying,
By myself I swear, declares Jehovah, that because you have done this, and you have not withheld your son, your only one, I will surely bless you, and I will surely multiply your offspring like the stars of the heavens, and like the grains of sand on the seashore, and your offspring will take possession of the gate of his enemies. And by means of your offspring, all nations of the earth will obtain a blessing for themselves, because you have listened to my voice.
After that Abraham returned to his servants, and they got up and went back together to Beersheba, and Abraham continued to dwell at Beersheba. After this, it was reported to Abraham,
Here Milcah has also borne sons to Nahor your brother, Uz his firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram, Kesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel.
Bethuel became the father of Rebekah. Milcah bore these 8 to Nahor the brother of Abraham. His concubine, whose name was Rumah, also bore sons, Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Maacah. Chapter 23. And Sarah lived for 127 years. These were the years of Sarah's life. So Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham began to mourn and to weep over Sarah. Then Abraham got up from before his dead wife, and he said to the sons of Heth,
I am a foreigner and settler among you. Give me a property to serve as a burial place in your midst, so that I may remove my dead for burial.
At this the sons of Heth answered Abraham,
Hear us, my lord. You are a chieftain of God among us. You may bury your dead in the choicest of our burial places. None of us will hold back his burial place from you to prevent you from burying your dead.
So Abraham got up and bowed down to the people of the land, to the sons of Heth, and said to them,
If you agree to let me remove my dead for burial, then listen to me, and urge Ephron the son of Zohar to sell me the cave of Machpelah, which belongs to him. It is at the edge of his field. Let him sell it to me in your presence for the full amount of silver, so that I may have a property for a burial place.
Now Ephron was sitting among the sons of Heth. So Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the sons of Heth, and before all who entered the gate of his city, saying,
No, my lord, listen to me. I give you both the field and the cave that is in it. In the presence of the sons of my people, I give it to you. Bury your dead.
At that Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people, saying,
Listen to me, if you will. I will give you the full amount of silver for the field. Take it from me, in order that I may bury my dead there.
Then Ephron answered Abraham,
My lord, listen to me. This land is worth 400 silver shekels. But what is that between me and you? So bury your dead.
Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out to Ephron the amount of silver that he had mentioned in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 silver shekels, according to the weight accepted by the merchants. Thus the field of Ephron in Machpelah, which was in front of Mamre, the field and the cave in it, and all the trees within the boundaries of the field, became confirmed as Abraham's purchased property in the presence of the sons of Heth, before all those entering the gate of his city. After that, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah in front of Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Thus the field and the cave that was in it were transferred by the sons of Heth to Abraham as property for a burial place. Chapter 24. Abraham was now old, advanced in years, and Jehovah had blessed Abraham in everything. Abraham said to his servant, the oldest one of his household, who was managing all he had,
Please, put your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by Jehovah, the God of the heavens and the God of the earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I am dwelling. You must go instead to my country and to my relatives and take a wife for my son, for Isaac.
However, the servant said to him,
What if the woman is not willing to come with me to this land? Must I then return your son to the land from which you came?
At this, Abraham said to him,
See that you do not take my son there. Jehovah, the God of the heavens, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my relatives, and who spoke with me and swore to me, To your offspring I am going to give this land. He will send his angel ahead of you, and you will certainly take a wife for my son from there. But if the woman is unwilling to come with you, you will be free from this oath. But you must not take my son there.
With that, the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. So the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed, taking along all sorts of good things from his master. Then he went on his way to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. He had the camels kneel down at a well of water outside the city. It was about evening, the time when the women would go out to draw water. Then he said,
Jehovah, the God of my master Abraham, please grant me success this day and show your loyal love to my master Abraham. Here I am standing at a spring of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. May it happen that the young woman to whom I say, Please, let down your water jar so that I may take a drink, and who replies, Take a drink, and I will also water your camels. Let this be the one you choose for your servant Isaac, and by this let me know that you have shown your loyal love to my master.
Even before he finished speaking, Rebekah, who was the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her water jar on her shoulder. Now the young woman was very beautiful, a virgin. No man had had sexual relations with her. She went down to the spring, filled her water jar, and then came back up. At once the servant ran to meet her and said,
Please, give me a little sip of water from your jar.
In turn she said,
Drink, my lord.
With that she quickly lowered her jar upon her hand and gave him a drink. When she finished giving him a drink, she said,
I will also draw water for your camels until they are done drinking.
So she quickly emptied her jar into the drinking trough, and ran again and again to the well to draw water, and she kept drawing water for all his camels. The whole time the man silently stared at her in amazement, wondering whether Jehovah had made his trip successful or not. When the camels had finished drinking, the man took out for her a gold nose ring weighing a half shekel, and 2 bracelets of gold weighing 10 shekels. And he said,
Please tell me, whose daughter are you? Is there any room at your father's house for us to spend the night?
At that she said to him,
I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor.
And she added,
We have both straw and much fodder, and also a place to spend the night.
Then the man bowed down and prostrated himself before Jehovah and said,
May Jehovah be praised, the God of my master Abraham, for he has not abandoned his loyal love and his faithfulness toward my master. Jehovah has guided me to the house of the brothers of my master.
And the young woman ran to tell her mother's household about these things. Now Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban. So Laban ran to the man who was outside at the spring. When he saw the nose ring and the bracelets on the hands of his sister, and heard the words of his sister Rebekah, who was saying, This is the way the man spoke to me, he came to meet the man, who was still there standing by the camels at the spring. At once he said,
Come, you who are blessed by Jehovah. Why do you keep standing out here? I have made the house ready and a place for the camels.
With that, the man came into the house, and he unharnessed the camels, and gave straw and fodder to the camels and water to wash his feet, and the feet of the men who were with him. However, when something to eat was set before him, he said,
I will not eat until I have told you what I have to say.
So Laban said,
Speak.
Then he said,
I am Abraham's servant, and Jehovah has blessed my master very much, and he has made him very wealthy by giving him sheep and cattle, silver and gold, male and female servants, and camels and donkeys. Further, Sarah, the wife of my master, bore a son to my master after she grew old, and he will give him everything he has. So my master made me swear, saying, You must not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I am dwelling. No, but you will go to the house of my father and to my family, and you must take a wife for my son. But I said to my master, What if the woman is unwilling to come with me? He said to me, Jehovah before whom I have walked will send his angel with you, and will certainly give success to your journey. And you must take a wife for my son from my family and from the house of my father. You will be released from your oath to me if you go to my family, and they will not give her to you. This will release you from your oath. When I got to the spring today, I said, Jehovah, the God of my master Abraham, if you will make my journey successful, here I am standing at a spring. What must take place is that when a young woman comes out to draw water, I will say, Please let me drink a little water from your jar. And she will say to me, You take a drink, and I will also draw water for your camels. Let that woman be the one whom Jehovah has chosen for the son of my master. Before I was finished speaking in my heart, there was Rebekah coming out with her jar on her shoulder, and she made her way down to the spring and began to draw water. Then I said to her, Give me a drink, please. So she quickly lowered her jar from her shoulder and said, Take a drink, and I will also water your camels. Then I took a drink, and she also watered the camels. After that I asked her, Whose daughter are you? To which she replied, The daughter of Bethuel, the son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her hands. And I bowed down and prostrated myself before Jehovah, and praised Jehovah, the God of my master Abraham. who had led me on the right path to take the daughter of the brother of my master for his son. And now, tell me if you wish to show loyal love and faithfulness toward my master. But if not, tell me, so that I may proceed one way or the other."
Then Laban and Bethuel answered,
"This is from Jehovah. We are not able to say yes or no to you."
"Here is Rebekah before you. Take her and go, and let her become a wife to the son of your master, just as Jehovah has spoken."
When Abraham's servant heard their words, he at once bowed down on the ground before Jehovah. And the servant began to bring out articles of silver and of gold and garments, and to give them to Rebekah. And he gave valuable things to her brother and to her mother. After that, he and the men with him ate and drank, and they spent the night there. When he got up in the morning, he said,
"Send me off to my master."
To this her brother and her mother said,
"Let the young woman stay with us at least 10 days. Then she can go."
But he said to them,
"Do not detain me, seeing that Jehovah has made my journey successful. Send me off, in order that I may go to my master."
So they said,
"Let us call the young woman and inquire of her."
They called Rebekah and said to her,
"Will you go with this man?"
She replied,
"I am willing to go."
So they sent off their sister Rebekah and her nurse and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her,
"Our sister, may you become thousands times 10,000, and let your offspring take possession of the gate of those who hate them."
Then Rebekah and her female attendants rose, got on the camels, and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and went on his way. Now Isaac had come from the direction of Beer-lahai-roi, for he was dwelling in the land of the Negeb. And Isaac was out walking in the field about nightfall to meditate. When he looked up, why, he saw that camels were coming. When Rebekah looked up, she caught sight of Isaac, and she quickly got down from the camel. Then she asked the servant,
"Who is that man there, walking in the field to meet us?"
And the servant said,
"It is my master."
So she took her veil to cover herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things he had done. After that, Isaac brought her into the tent of Sarah his mother. Thus he took Rebekah as his wife, and he fell in love with her, and Isaac found comfort after the loss of his mother. Chapter 25. Now Abraham again took a wife, and her name was Keturah. In time she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan became father to Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Dedan were Ashurim, Letushim, and Leamim. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Eldaah. All of these were the sons of Keturah. Later on, Abraham gave everything he had to Isaac, but Abraham gave gifts to his sons by his concubines. Then while he was still alive, he sent them eastward, away from Isaac his son, to the land of the east. The years of Abraham's life were 175 years. Then Abraham breathed his last and died, at a good old age, old and satisfied, and was gathered to his people. His sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, that is in front of Mamre, the field that Abraham had purchased from the sons of Heth. There Abraham was buried, with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God continued to bless his son Isaac, and Isaac was dwelling near Beer-lahai-roi. This is the history of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, whom Hagar the Egyptian, the servant of Sarah, bore to Abraham. Now these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their family origins. Ishmael's firstborn, Nebaioth, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Timah, Jeter, Naphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their settlements and by their encampments, 12 chieftains according to their clans. And Ishmael lived for 137 years. Then he breathed his last, and died, and was gathered to his people. And they took up dwelling from Havilah near Shur, which is close to Egypt, as far as Assyria. He settled near all his brothers. And this is the history of Isaac, the son of Abraham. Abraham became father to Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean. And Isaac kept pleading with Jehovah regarding his wife, because she was barren. So Jehovah responded to his plea, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. And the sons within her began to struggle with each other, so that she said,
"If this is the way it is, why should I go on living?"
So she inquired of Jehovah, and Jehovah said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples will be separated from within you, and the one nation will be stronger than the other nation, and the older will serve the younger. When the time came for her to give birth, look, twins were in her womb. Then the first came out, red all over, and was like a garment of hair, so they named him Esau. After that his brother came out, and his hand was holding on to the heel of Esau, so he named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she gave birth to them. As the boys got bigger, Esau became a skilled hunter, a man of the field, but Jacob was a blameless man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because it meant game in his mouth, whereas Rebekah loved Jacob. On one occasion, Jacob was boiling some stew when Esau returned from the field exhausted. So Esau said to Jacob,
"Quick, please, give me some of the red stew that you have there, for I am exhausted."
That is why his name was Edom. To this Jacob said,
"First, sell me your right as firstborn."
And Esau continued,
"Here I am about to die. What use is a birthright to me?"
And Jacob added,
"Swear to me first."
So he swore to him, and sold his right as firstborn to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank, and he got up and went away. Thus Esau despised the birthright. Chapter 26. Now there was a famine in the land, in addition to the first famine that occurred in the days of Abraham, so that Isaac went to Abimelek, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. Then Jehovah appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Dwell in the land that I designate to you. Reside as a foreigner in this land, and I will continue with you and bless you, because to you and to your offspring I will give all these lands, and I will carry out the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I will multiply your offspring like the stars of the heavens, and I will give to your offspring all these lands, and by means of your offspring all nations of the earth will obtain a blessing for themselves, on account of the fact that Abraham listened to my voice and continued to keep my requirements, my commands, my statutes, and my laws." So Isaac continued to dwell in Gerar. When the men of the place kept asking about his wife, he would say,
"She is my sister."
He was afraid to say, "She is my wife," for he said, "The men of the place might kill me because of Rebekah, for she was beautiful in appearance." After some time had passed, Abimelek, king of the Philistines, was looking out of the window, and he saw Isaac displaying affection for Rebekah his wife. At once Abimelek called Isaac and said,
She is actually your wife. Why did you say, 'She is my sister'?"
At this Isaac said to him,
"I said it for fear I should die because of her."
But Abimelek continued,
"What have you done to us? One of the people could easily have lain down with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us."
Then Abimelek commanded all the people, saying,
"Anybody touching this man and his wife will surely be put to death."
And Isaac began to sow seed in that land, and in that year he reaped 100 times what he sowed, for Jehovah was blessing him. The man became wealthy, and he continued to prosper until he became very wealthy. He acquired flocks of sheep and herds of cattle and a large body of servants, and the Philistines began to envy him. So the Philistines took soil and stopped up all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham. Abimelek then said to Isaac,
"Move from our neighborhood, for you have grown far stronger than we are."
So Isaac moved from there and encamped in the valley of Gomorrah and began dwelling there. And Isaac again dug the wells that had been dug in the days of his father Abraham, but that the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham's death, and he called them by the names that his father had given them. When the servants of Isaac were digging in the valley, they found a well of fresh water. And the shepherds of Gomorrah began quarreling with the shepherds of Isaac, saying,
"The water is ours."
So he named the well Esek, because they had quarreled with him. And they started digging another well, and they began quarreling over it also. So he named it Sitnah. Later he moved away from there and dug another well, but they did not quarrel over it. So he named it Rehoboth, and said,
"It is because now Jehovah has given us ample room and has made us fruitful in the land."
Then he went up from there to Beersheba. That night Jehovah appeared to him and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you, and I will bless you and multiply your offspring on account of Abraham my servant." So he built an altar there and called on the name of Jehovah. And Isaac pitched his tent there, and his servants dug a well there. Later Abimelek came to him from Gomorrah with Ahazath, his personal adviser, and Phicol, the chief of his army. At this Isaac said to them,
"Why have you come to me, seeing that you hated me and sent me away from your neighborhood?"
To this they said,
"We have clearly seen that Jehovah has been with you. So we said, 'Let there please be an oath of obligation between us and you, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do nothing bad to us, just as we have not harmed you, seeing that we have done only good to you, in that we sent you away in peace. You now are the blessed of Jehovah.'"
Then he made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. In the morning they got up early and swore an oath to each other. After that Isaac sent them away, and they went from him in peace. On that day the servants of Isaac came and reported to him about the well that they had dug, and they told him,
"We have found water."
So he named it Shibah. That is why the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he took as wife Judith the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and also Basemath the daughter of Elon the Hittite. They were a source of great grief to Isaac and Rebekah.